are likely increased reliance on text builds sensitivity of children independently risky for financial cyber attacks and states until their adults by 2024. Schools on the hit that devastating cyber attacks, which was hugely growing a nationwide trend in which hackers are hacking students as school districts have more technology cyber attacks and sensitive data on the rise consequences of these data breaches and follow students into adulthood. Identity information of children more valuable than adults. Parents don't monitor children credit. Bad actors can easily open up bank accounts. And the erode banks, which causes bank runs in the Lucia 24. Seven incidents that in economic stability, erode confidence, disrupt services, causes spillover, and in the market allows runs on banks could severely affect economic activity, exposed to industry-wide system-wide shocks. Banking causes recession low 23. Customer withdrawal overwhelmed by to return funds, bank defaults, bank runs, by shareholders and depositors in multiple banks are causing industry-wide panic that leads to economic recession. Economic downturn causes extinction, global households, environmental catastrophes, research services, West 24. Economic downturn, trigger risk escalation, key hospitals, Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, eroding guardrails contain conflict containment, involve nukes in the U.S., shocks with the unmanaged fragility, passes the tipping point, upheavals, elevate risk of global catastrophes, existential risk. Contention force creativity and costume the basic skills that is the base for creativity. Augmentation arguments are disproven by human compulsion by 24. When we give text to augment human skills, younger people replace the need to learn increasingly better skills by technology, although psychology we work while human focus on creative, as soon as we have learned the basic, every basic skills that we remove in education, higher level creative work that requires us will no longer be available, will be dependent. The risk of the bottom of the brain comes our data and educational AI over emphasis is quantifiable skills in lieu of creativity on the 24. AI system shapes the educational environment, AI rely on quantifiable data to fuel algo, user standardized metric assessment, simplify data analysis, educational institutions prioritize standardized assessment to optimize AI effectiveness. Cut the card there, human creativity, impact filter, response to all access to best mark 22. Any problem to the humankind involves creative thinking, applications across many different fields. Global problem caused by human behavior such as warming, poverty, overpopulation may be held by defined creative ways, one to may depend on the use of human imagination. You want me to set it up? Sure. Mark this time. We got it. Now let's read it. Yeah, so just replace it. Can I get the toe, Brian? Or yeah, someone's toe. Alex, speak first for Alex. Everyone good? Huh? Can we wait for this? Oh wait, yeah, my bad. I forgot to send it. Set. Good? I'm just going to throw my check. I just got to spam like y'all did for me. I'm not sure.
I just stopped him.
Oh, maybe it's not.
I just stopped him. I don't know. Okay, I just stopped him. On the other minute.
Yeah. Did the judges get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Alright, cool. I'll wait for y'all to open it.
Alright.
Alright.
We affirm contextualizing climate change. We're in a climate and education crisis now for NANS 25. CC will make extreme weather common. Students deserve climate education as they'll need to find viable solutions. They'll lack a comprehensive understanding. Fail to provide info, they want to stifle ability to care. Limited learning that can help them through solutions. Prioritizing climate education creates students ready for green jobs. Despite new administration, there's an opportunity to pass effective CC at the state level. Universities can be leaders in decarbonization. Advocates need to take on climate as education policy GAI solves. Decel 25. Democratize climate education, generate materials in regional languages, integrate knowledge systems, and simulate climate scenarios, tailored geographies. Empower students to understand and develop actionable solutions. Expanding models creates a generative generation of environmentally conscious leaders during sustainable development. Education translates into material action. Show 23. Young people want to know what they can do about the CC. Large gaps in knowledge needed to transition. If 16% of students study CC would cut 19 gigatons of CO2. Educated youth would develop personal connections and change behaviors. Action starts in America, ends globally. Pulsar 24. Climate change education in the U.S. is important because it's among the largest producers of GHG and educational practices influential globally. It's time to act now. New Stanley 24. We're on the brink of an irreversible climate disaster, stepping into critical phase. The situation is so hopeless. Implementing climate policies in coming years improves the outcome below the word expectations. Climate change is existential. Chem 22. Climate change collapses societies in extinction, impacts overwhelm and adaptive capacity, triggers international conflict, exacerbates disease, spillover threat, multipliers, loss of land, water, food insecurity, coalesce into synchronous failures that unravel society's political fragility, undermines ability to recover from cataclysm. Contention to is scholarship. Generative AI is key to research. Round 24. AI streamlines and improves every step of an experiment, coding, literature, review, hypothesis generation, instead of LLMs, analyze data, identify gaps, and generate ideas. LLMs clarify instructions, ensure compliance with protocol. If a participant were to misunderstand, becomes less engaged or cheat, LLMs detect and address. LLMs address data that traditional methods miss. Effectively speeds up analysis, allows research to focus on interpreting results. Advantages outweigh drawbacks. Downsides are self-corrected. Lead 23. Progress in Gen AI, game changer to alleviate knowledge for burden and revolutionize research. Content produced by AI expose weaknesses, call for efforts to improve it. AI complement human intelligence, scientific discovery. Discover connections between disparate fields not apparent to humans. Humans are influenced by biases. LLMs reduce this. Biases are identical to human biases and reduce certainty predispositions, improving reliability. Summarizing, coding, brainstorming, excellent for editing. Fraudulent content, step up better in efforts better in review. Rigorous peer review and open practices deter fraud. Subject scrutiny by community. Accessibility simplifies the process to validate results. AI tools may detect data fabrication, mitigates the negative impact. The next generation of early career researchers won't misuse AI. Herman 24. In the case of AI, ECRs are positioned to introduce change, having up-to-date experience. ECRs use AI indiscriminately is highly unlikely. Seen as going against code of honor, institutional grooming ensures they rarely think it's possible. Even if AI delivers less valuable ideas, it can still coach researchers using AI traditional competencies to critically review awareness of limitations. Widespread publishers updating policies, refusing to accept chatbot recommendations, identifying appropriate journals with high accuracy. ECRs stand up to gain from AI. Their interest is to take a responsible attitude. Universities are unique to create innovations, economic growth, and model globally. CRU 12. Research universities are the most potent asset for U.S. economic growth and national goals. Educational systems of institutions generate most new knowledge from research. American research universities, the best in the world. Numerous global rankings indicate leaders compete by emulating our system. Reforming across 47 countries increases overall education. Institutions have demonstrated significant economic impact nationally. Faculty, students, and alumni found companies advance originating on campuses, provide industry with tech businesses and skilled workforce. Research is key to most critical challenges: effective education, healthcare, mitigating terror. America's competitive sustainability sciences offer rigorous evidence-based strategies. They facilitate sustainable development. Sarbong 24 finds that research and innovation is pivotal in sustainable development. Education institutions are essential. Undertake responsibility. University as a testbed for sustainability, using rapid prototyping to find solutions to global challenges. Gen AI is transforming sustainable development, improving health policy, driving cultural changes by promoting innovative approaches, and empowering young people for participation. Critical for transitioning to a green economy. Sustainability is necessary to avoid extinction. CERNIF 20 quantifies that sustainable development is unachieved. GCRs would increase extinction through chain reactions. Adaptability means that for humanity to become extinct, it would be a series of events. Feedback loops represent the greatest risks. Refugees increase pandemic risks. Poverty reduce health. Restrict education, generating unsustainable population growth. Global warming disrupts ecosystems. Climate action slow. Pollution encouraging affordable clean energy. Ag shortfall increases as hunger and widens inequality. Important to adopt new tech to enhance ag. Conflict will increase and climate change provides the backdrop.
You wanted to be a log. I'll ask the first question.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. How long have we had generative AI in education?
Not very long. It's relatively new. I think its first major appearance was just fall 2023. Can I get a question?
Fall 2023. Why is it fall 2023?
That's like basically around the time that ChatGPT was revolutionized. Can I
So
get
how much climate action have we seen since then?
I mean, a lot of our evidence is very predictive, and it says that it is on set to occur and that AI has done productive stuff. Can I get a question?
Sure.
Right. On creativity, so is generative AI going to kill all creativity in everyone's brains across the entire world because we use ChatGPT in classrooms sometimes?
I'd say yeah.
No.
Why?
Just curious. You can get a question.
Right. I mean, specifically, the warranting is that it makes us so dependent on it for so many basic skills that we just jump over it. And because AI itself is something that is so general, we can depend on it for so many things. We don't have to do any layers of thinking, and insofar as we don't make any of those connections in our brain, we literally cannot have any creative
so
work.
what's the bright line on like?
And also,
Really quick. What's the bright line on automating all of our capabilities? Like, why hasn't this not triggered with a calculator? Right, from my calculator on my calculus homework, I just plug in the values, which helps me like graph the functions and stuff, which is obviously something I skip in my brain.
Two things. First, a calculator is not something that can have so much general work for you, where you can depend on it for everything. But second, the second link is talking about generative AI as something that like regulates us and evaluates us in the classroom. Specifically, it says that evaluates us by quantitative skills, not things like creativity or literature. And like calculator is a tool we use, but it's not something we use to evaluate.
So why can AI not just
which is why like the classroom is shaped like educational AI, but it's not shaped to a calculator.
Why can't AI just be used as an educational tool? Like, it does not necessarily have to be.
Well, like, for example, right, you can't just defend like one specific part of generative AI. We're saying that generative AI in classroom can have many implications.
But like the way
one of which is using it to surveil students using quantitative skills, and we have Reju card that says that we do do that, and it's a harm that comes to it.
But the argument I'm making is that sure, you can say that in like a vacuum maybe it has these harms, but the realistic implementation of it has not led to like this totalizing effect. You can get a question.
Like, I mean, first of all, like the tool thing, we have proven that the tool thing also causes dependency, which causes lack of creativity. Can I get a question?
Yeah.
Let's look at scholarship. Do we have innovation or research before generative AI, i.e. before fall 2023?
Sure, but we'd say it's not enough. Our argument is generative AI specifically underpins like the current acceleration of research, which is specifically key to sustainable development.
What specific bright line or what specific thing happened after fall 2023 that means that we need generative AI to keep up with research now?
I mean, we say we need to keep up with it in the future of sustainable development, i.e. before like the time that generative AI became an actual thing in academia, like university research, we didn't actually see that much protective sustainable development. But now we're seeing things like actual efficiency cuts, like increasing efficiency of current transportation vehicles or current like computing powers. We just recently introduced quantum computing to save a lot of energy. Can I get a question?
Quantum computing. Okay, sure.
Okay, on cyber, why can't you just like change your credit card?
You can't, because first of all, we've outlined that the youth thing means that parents don't check the youth credit card, which means that cyber taxes and youth independently.
I know my
like the warranty is super good on the car. I just thought this like before this round.
It's just not their face. Is this perfect?
Yeah, it just falls off every round for some reason.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Cool. You else ended?
Yeah.
Yeah, one second.
All good? On climate, first, the climate just had outweighs. We'll agree that climate change is on the brink now, which means climate flows neg. A is AI in education is driving demand now, which means each model emits hundreds of thousands of carbon, which means it pushes us over the brink before they can solve. B, usage dumps. Every single time someone uses generative AI, resource consumption, data processing, and cooling, etc., means that even if they do climate education, they exacerbate climate change in the process of doing so, which means we are over the brink before they can solve. Second, the link is not topical, it's not about the US, and it also concedes digital divide now. Only international actors solve. Kinkaid reads blue, the essay 25. AI climate education in the global south, low, and middle income countries, digital divide remains a significant barrier. Addressing these gaps requires international organizations. Also, the 1AC closer evidence concedes it's not working now, and all actors solve this is their author, poster 24. Mixed messages legitimize scientifically unwarranted explanations. The prevalence of mixed messages remain high. Improvements spurred by science standards and shifts in personal views. But 3, the school disproves this. AI in education now, yet climate change is accelerating. Hold the line on their solvency. You have no idea when it happens. Independently, there's all causes. A, people are lazy. They don't care even if they're educated. B, people don't care that climate documentaries, research, books all exist now, but students read them and don't do anything to create change. C, it's a solvency that not all students become innovators or researchers. Even if they do, it takes way too long, which means climate worsens the short term, which outweighs. 4, misinformation turns to link just V24. ChatGPT climate change literacy, not enough to conclude truly reliable GPT reports track error, which mislead users, false negative, dangerous for climate literacy. Issues regarding Gen AI tools consider their increasing role in climate literacy and education. Fifth, AI literacy isn't equally distributed, means the most vulnerable don't get employed. Stanford 24. Students will not get equally benefited. The digital divide digitally impact students of color, low income. They do not have adequate resources to support AI literacy. AI tools and under-resourced will utilize less effectively, lead to opportunity gaps. This also outweighs vulnerable groups are impacted first by climate change, but AI can't get to them, which means that means they never solve. Such as no solvency, vague policies, and further evidence is wholly speculative. Ours is quantified, means climate attribution fails 2024. More than 3/4 of educators say that districts do not have clear policies on AI. District leaders feel overwhelmed and lack clear direction, inviting confusion and inequality. AI is changing. Any policy could be outdated. 7. And all reasons climate education to simple campaigns 2024. Climate education is floundering despite climate education. Climate denials and sponsored by energy, industrial complex, propaganda campaigns. Major psychological factor is fear among conservatives. Climate change counter movement interfering with teaching science. Skip the next analytics. 8. The Lucidi evidence concedes that we're on the brink of climate crisis because of still resistance from those benefiting financially from the current fossil fuel-based system. There's no reason that AI teaching education is going to solve any of that, scholars. 1. AI causes feedback loops of misinfo. It turns case because of Dex Innovation Study 24. LLMs learning from data produced from other models, causing model class, whereby models forget the true underlying data and accuracy combined to cause the overall error to grow. 2nd, GA causes fake research, erodes trust, causes investor flow, and misguides policy. For further evidence is only about checking cognitive devices, not misinformation. PY and 24. AI generated fake papers, eroding trust in scientific findings. Models generate results based on skewed data. This led to misguided product launches with 1% rate. Erode trust. Investors start pulling back, and automakers will clamp down or make bad policies based on false data. This significantly outweighs even if there's innovation, if no measures do it, that means the innovation doesn't get anywhere. 3. ECRs don't solve their own author post-haste themselves. Herman, December 24. ECRs exhibit mostly limited and moderate experiencers, divide the views of those who are uninterested, be just influence on future. For most, AI brought no change in their career. 4. Gen AI shows critical thinking and improved AI does not solve the issue. It turns innovation. Every second of Alex trying to set up his phone before the round proves this argument. Graph 24. Critical thinking rely on internalized knowledge. Using AI ensure higher order thinking will never emerge. Learners who use AI encourage wrong info. But 5. Hallucinations turns innovation prefers. Quantified seeing and Pearson 24. AI presents wrong answers 42% of the time. The ChatGPT may generate incorrect information anytime, anywhere. Hallucination just randomly generates information when it's running out of things. But 6. Colleges are not good for innovation. Wonder 24. Universities have articulated seeming contradictions between papers and funding patents. Research behind uni's circle innovation. The revenue distributions are discretion of the university. Most don't pay $1. Many faculty stops research for the fear of losing their jobs. But 7. The CRU evidence says that the US and universities are key to creating innovations from 2012. That's key. That was way before Gen AI existed, which proves that AI is A, not unique benefit, and B, is not needed to solve. But 8. Researchers don't want AI in their studies prefer. It's the most recent evidence and cites actual researchers rigors 3 days ago. Researchers at MIT told unsupported by empirical data results are so vague that no legitimate scientist will take them seriously. Researchers from Harvard and Stanford published saying that lack of detailed methods undermines scientific value.
Oh,
It wasn't. Oh wait, yeah, it was mine.
I remember there's also a card that you cut. Well, you cut part of the card.
Which one?
Yeah, like I cut part of the climate change.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, card.
Y'all know which card you cut?
I don't remember.
Wasn't it CUNY?
No, I think you read Cooney.
Okay, well I guess just cut the analytic.
No, you read Cooney.
Yeah, I read.
Oh, that's chill. Can you send it?
Yeah.
I haven't got it. Oh, you did it. I just got it. Do you just delete everything you didn't read?
It was just that one analytic. It's in mine. That was the one thing that was correct.
It was on climate,
Not
right?
climate, but the
Yeah.
first one.
Alex and I will take a little bit of prep starting now. 17.7. Can I have the understand the document? It's going to be throwing the affirmative going to the negative. Okay, cool. So throwing the F going to the negative. Good for everyone? Group all the responses on climate how it doesn't solve. These are not responses to our case specifically. They have not responded to the players where it has been implemented. It has worked empirically, which is empirics that should break the clash. Also, the reason why it hasn't solved everything is it hasn't scaled up. But scaling up, obviously, if they say that our link is about the US, but that evidence indicates that, broadly speaking, the US can be a model which is solved back by exporting technology is key. They say that specifically it hasn't worked in the past. This is response to above, specifically the warranty that also dropped that even if the AI technology is not perfect in the first place, the fact that educate students and sparks a curiosity interest, it means that they're able to solve back for more things on, and the fact that it doesn't work, but it means that they can be checked back for, because AI misinformation is just used as an example for what things need to improve. They say that school disproves, but that's a cross application of their case, but I've already responded to it. They say that misinformation is a turn to argue this isn't true because misinformation is going down anyways. They also 2013, as the more powerful each generation hallucinate client AI, zero hallucinates 2027, AI models are getting bigger, allows AI to know more or less likely which also responds to all this stuff on scholarship, how it's the AI is inaccurate and it's getting wrong information. Then they say that the climate technology is not infinitely distributed across all schools, but we'd say that one, it's definitely enough of investment so that schools could still buy enemies. Second of all, as market competition drives on AI pricing, which means that inevitably it'll be cheaper. Let's go to misinformation. All the responses here really miss the mark. Group every single misinformation. One, cross by the response above how misinformation is going down the AI system route. They don't account for new systems, but two, self-correction. The lead evidence is that when AI is wrong, it can use that information to improve it in the future independently. It can reliably detect instances of its own misuse, which is also the lead evidence. Then it's also offensive for us because one, humans also bias, so we see it's far better than B, because the literature, because even if AI proves incorrect data, sometimes it can recommend better literature, and C, coaching, because AI can help students understand the problems and coach them through it, which is the Herman evidence, and D, guidelines, because the argument indicates that it's tried, because the academic system have rigorous guidelines to solve back to this here. Also, then they say that specifically our arguments, that the innovation is going down, but the crew evidence is better on the question. They dropped all the awards that there's a critical mass of research and also funds massive starts as the hub of new information, which is far better on the question. They say that specifically crew is old, but the argument is that AI can streamline it and make it far better. Lastly, they say there's apprehension about university. Even if there's apprehension, the fear can be overcome with more improvements, and also it's still getting better and it's still beneficial. Let's go to their case. On nuclear weapons, one, AI must be in the classroom, TFA noted, and education applying AI within the classroom. Cambridge ND defines classrooms, a room where school college groups considered to top prefer. Their own evidence says that developing reason and judgment, using reason and judgment is not the same. Gut shut the argument. Two, incentive solve back horse 19. Militaries want weapons they control, like to improve systems that put the horse in the air. Public awareness play a role in shaping developing AI systems, being a competitive fear of AI, militaries can be working on climate. One, AI education isn't big enough, and other countries stump the argument. True evidence is more rhetorical than argumentative, and another evidence is specific enough. Two, AI's contribution negative and reduced image at 525. Training amount equal to 60 homes, once trained miles, use millions time, average train, heavy generating CO2 less than a laptop. Aviation limits 70 times AI can reduce waste at 30%, reducing different language on cyber. One, students should just change identification, new cards, password, all solves obviously incoherent that the parents do not care enough about their students. They obviously will make them change their passwords. And two, AIs in the cost of the crime evidence is the school system data leaked the data. Three, regulation checks 722. For require schools to protect privacy, define what schools can maintain disclose SEPA, filters the standard for personal information, context part of the card. Four, the impact is bad. Banks will prevent withdrawal in the case of widespread putting, and cyber attacks will go in for, but there's no impact. Independently, the government, cybersecurity can also solve back for the competency. 5, economic decline quells rivals. Clear 15.
2017. Economic source of confident college policy data from 109 rivals suggests that rivals twice likely to term major downturns economic crisis leaders to cut defense expenditures. Economic crisis increase the benefit of international cooperation. Leaders seek international aid trade investment prefer over their evidence. Their evidence is hypothetical. Our studies empirical consensus. Cut the analytic on creativity. 1. GI gives students personalized learning solves the root cause of creativity decline. Tandem 4. GI offer control over learning students and support at their own pace. GI provide personalized real-time feedback helps students understand the story, foster competence by fostering intrinsic motivation, be actually more relevant, drives them to encourage engage deeply. 2. A is a critical thinking, increase critical thinking now. Unique disclose affirmative. Degree start 23. AI evolution of the house research study critical thinking on the rise. AI allows students to take access critical virtual environment. AI requires human to think, guide AI system enforcing context part of the card. Then we say 3. Even if AI relies on numerical data, the ethics not say students do anything to shy away from seems as daunting. 4. It's the person's fault, not the AI. They are creating the first. Season 24. AI is not killing critical thinking. You are those who seek regression. Critical thinking have high overlines of trust. Ladies seek instant gratification. 5. The impact is terrible. Scholarship now proves its knowledge is solve and creativity is useless. We don't have the technical knowledge, which proves that our argument controls the risk of offense of theirs. I'm working about. It's called the same thing. There's a mark at the end, and it's sent. Y'all get it?
Alright, 55. Good for cross.
Sure.
Let's talk about our climate argument. You say like our evidence is not specific enough. Your climate argument, your evidence is talking about lower and middle income countries from around the world. How is that specific enough?
The argument we've made is the United States actually model globally in starting climate norms. Also, if the United States makes new technology, it can export them around the globe because that's obviously good for solving climate change. Get things like soft power and cloud because it looks like you're helping.
Wait, so you just agree that the U.S. is a norm setter around the world, right?
Yeah, but your argument pertains specifically to things like using education, using AI in education. But that's not the only thing that's emitting emissions. Like other things, the evidence that we've read said aviation is emitting 70 times more emissions as AI. Obviously, even if you set norms, you cannot solve for other industries.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's talk about cyber, right? So like if I'm a parent and my kid is getting all their data stolen, they're being hacked, don't I have an incentive to tell them to change the password of their accounts or something?
Well, one, not all parents know that their data is being hacked. Two,
I mean, how? For my parents at least, they get a report every single time I spend any type of money on their
my parents don't, so my
don't you think that they'll try to investigate it at least?
Well, I guess there's also the argument that because the leaks are so fast, even if they investigate it, it's too late, and data leaks can be very fast and very
like
Sure, but like,
widespread.
how does like trigger impact? Even if the leaks are fast, how does it like link into like
the impact is
banks?
perceptual. Like it's the bank runs argument is people start pulling out if they think their data is leaked.
I have a question.
We'll come back to that, sure.
Yeah. The frontlining on the C2, like you grouped everything and just said like self-correction.
No, I grouped that stuff. I talked about the ECRs thing, and I did the line by line on the universal. What?
What was the answer on ECRs?
On that, they're still to gain expertise. It helps them collaborate, and also it could still spur interest. Your interest isn't specific.
Like what did the group?
The
Like,
grouping
you
answers all the
like-
misinformation hallucinations is bad for research. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, that's
Cool. Let's go back to cyber, right? So like we've had cyber attacks before, right? Like where are the bank runs then?
Well, the argument isn't. Well, yeah, we've had cyber attacks before, but we've read evidence specific to the cyber attacks topic.
No. Like people have definitely cyber attacked the banks before. Like that was the whole thing with like China in like 2015 or
I
something.
think that's also different from like a data leak. Our argument is with the data leak, you have a lot more access. If more data allows these.
Why does that mean they pull out the banks?
Wait, why does it mean they pull out the
Yeah,
banks?
like I think those are unrelated.
It's like you can get like banking info. That's the argument.
Then if every bank is affected, what are they gonna do with their money? They're just gonna fucking like put in any bank?
Like put under their bag.
Okay.
Another question.
Sure.
Let's go back to scholars. So like, I'm still like not understanding how self-correction answers things like other people think AI is ineffective. Like even if it's self-correcting, if the perception is ineffective.
Yeah.
how that's-
That's crossed, but I can answer this. The delineation we've made is that even if it's apprehensions, they're still being applied, which they still have the benefits that we should get.
Oh, sorry.
Order is just going to be my case weighing their case. Anyone not ready?
I think we're good.
Time is gonna start my first word. I'm gonna take a little bit more practice.
There's a discussions to it.
Happens the end of your prep time.
I'm sorry?
Happens the end of your prep time.
Okay, like all of my questions. Okay. We're good.
Going for climate educational AI uniquely harms the environment and requires extensive power to process data for detail-based teaching, supercharges energy consumption, electricity uses, and water use. Independently, popularization of AI also drives demand for general AI use, and current AI is also not good enough for general educational purposes, which requires training of new models that leads to further mass consumption of electricity, which essentially magnifies climate harms, AI energy consumption, turbocharges the speed of climate change in the short term, causes extinction, disease, conflict, causes erosion, spillover risk. On their responses, first, they say that AI isn't big enough to solve. First, they have considered the fact that educational AI specifically requires more energy to use because it needs specific models that requires more energy to train data so they can teach new students. And then they're going to say there's all integers as thumbs. First, this is not a reason for you to affirm. If we can specifically prove to you that the harms of educational AI is bad, that means that you should negate. But second, we will say that they have conceded the fact that climate change is non-linear, which means that every scalar increase in climate change kills millions more and drives us closer to extinction, which is a reason for you to negate. Then they say that AI produces negligible emission and they can reduce it. First, we'll say they have conceded that this is a demand argument, and they have conceded that use of AI drives up the general demand of AI. That means that it drives up general usage demand, which means there's more energy emission. But second, they've also conceded the fact that even if they have solvency, our harms always come first, because for them to increase the solvency, for them, every time they run the model to create climate solutions, the model creates more pollution, which means that which means that the harms just affects their solvency anyways. At that point. Also, their trend is only about lightning control. This is very predictive. There's no reason as to why AI would solve lightning control. And second, it's very specific to one realm of climate change. Ours is about carbon emissions versus all of climate change. Then on cyber, on the turn, we'll just consider that you can change making info, and banks can just prevent money from pulling out, which prevents their turn. On the seafront on creativity, first we'll just consider that the person are not creative themselves, which means that they can't solve. Also, they consider the quantitative scaling, which means that any benefit they have are only specific quantitative skills, not creativity. Also, critical thinking is not creativity, which means that they don't access our impacts. On the weighing, we are winning the prereq. Climate change is definitely a prerequisite to their argument about scholarship, and climate change obviously as a prerequisite to climate change, because if we create climate harm now, it means that we can't solve back in the future, but it's also a prerequisite to scholarship, because if we're focusing on increasing natural disasters from climate change, it means that we can't focus our resources on innovating new things. They're going to say that we shifted to climate change. No, it means that we shift from a world in which we're always innovating to now crisis mode, where we have to do things like, for example, climate disaster responses to solve for natural disasters, which means that we're shifting money away from innovation. Then we're also winning on time. The own uniqueness on climate change can see that climate change is getting really bad now, which means that independently tests any of their abilities to have any type of growth or innovation on their case. First, on their C1, climate, key variation, and consider there's no solvency right now. We have a bunch of information on use, paper articles, blogs, YouTube videos, etc. There's really no solvency for this information. There's no reason as to why. There's a specific one as to why ChatGPT creates new information. At that point, they consider the utility evidence. It says that the root cause of climate change is because big energies always lobby against climate education and does more emissions to increase climate change. There's no reason as to why they can solve this. On scholars, they have conceded that there's no predictive, so they can't say that they need to solve in the future. You can't prove the probability that it can definitely solve in the future, and it's also harms and benefits under the current world. At that point, also they said that POM evidence defines that investors have no confidence in AI, thinks that produces fake research papers, and they're incentivized to pull out, drop that. This is perceptual. None of their defense actually matters. The investors pull us out. That means that innovation doesn't matter because there's no money. The front question is purely perceptual. Also, it's in critical thinking. They just say it's self-correcting. That doesn't matter. People rely on AI too much right now, specifically right now, which gets rid of higher order thinking. That turns innovation means that we can't actually critically think to create good solutions. Also, it's in the CRU index that evidence system 2012. That means that you are very critical to link, because even for generative, we have very good innovation. There's no reason as to why after fall 2023 we have specific things that means that we have to use generative to solve for innovation.
Cool. You've taken, I think, 17 seconds so far. Does that sound right? Yeah, and then we'll take.
halfway pick.
Wait, everyone good? Great. Now we'll start my first word. First, on our argument on scholarship, generative AI is key to research due to increasing of hypotheses, literature, and accelerating the research process through generating models that researchers can follow. That's key because the downsides are corrected and ECRs are specifically motivated on the question, which is able to create good research. Universities are the backbone of research because US is a global influencer and university heavy headquarters of our knowledge, which is key to sustainable development to prevent climate change, which is the worst impact because it causes massive feedback loops and also resource conflict, which culminate in nuclear war, extinction, for famine. Their first response that they go for is that the data is wrong. One, they've conceded the evidence that says that the AI is self-correcting, and as it goes off its previous inaccuracies, it makes itself better in the long term, which means that this is definitely solving cities. Second, they've also conceded that the information is correct. They've fully dropped the evidence that says that misinformation but AI goes away by 2027. That is fully terminal. This response is completely non-starter. They say that investors pull out. One, then clearly they are not in the status quo because researcher with AI is still going very well. Two, also the government invests in universities. This is literally an incoherent response. They say that the universities are bad right now because they say that universities are bad and don't produce the tech, but they've specifically conceded that universities have the critical mass of our innovation capability. Just look at what's happening right now in the status quo. Break the clash with them peers. The universities are creating sustainable development tools like quantum chips that have extreme energy efficiency and solar panels, which is exactly what our argument is about. Then, they say that the ECRs are bad, but no, the ECRs follow an armored code, so they have obligation because they still obviously care about our field. At that point, good to be weighing. Our argument should come ahead at a question of a prerequisite. You know for a fact when there's massive efficiency that one can lead to more efficiency measures on the tech like the AI. So even if in a vacuum they say that the AI is not efficient, when we research the AI more and actually develop generative AI, we're able to make the technology more efficient. Second, we can do alternate forms of climate change innovation, which outweighs their argument at a scope level because it's not just AI, but rather other forms of energy efficiency such as transportation or navigation systems to actually reduce the emissions. You should prefer these out of the question of severity because they can only prevent the climate change, but we can actually create carbon sequestration, which is able to take away emissions from the environment, which can terminally solve even if we pass the brink of climate change. On their way. First, there's no reason why there's a trade-off. We can literally do both at the same time. We still have to invest in climate disasters response and innovation at the same time right now. There's no bright line, but also second, we can do increase innovation. If we have increased innovation, we increase efficiency, so we can invest in both at the same time. The government has the money. They have not isolated a bright line. Also, they say the time frame is really fast. We both impacted climate change. There's no bright line on this. Then. On their case proper, first, they have conceded fully that we just have AI in other fields that pollution in other fields that cause massive emissions, i.e. aviation, transportation, which all have AI is minimal compared to those, which means that other countries and other fields will still continue to produce the pollution and still contribute to climate change. At best, this topic is about generative AI, so all other forms of AI besides generative still contribute to climate change in the next world, which means you cannot vote for climate change happens anyway. So the only try or die is to affirm to create innovation and stuff like carbon sequestration that can actually solve climate change in the long term. Then, they've also conceded that the AI emissions are literally just negligible. They literally produce as much as a laptop. I'm not sure why their argument is even a voting issue. At best, it zeroes their link. It's a complete wash. They have absolutely a 1% risk of leaking into your impact, regardless. You look into our case, heavily err on the prereqs first. Also, the models have been used millions of times and never ever led to any significant impact. You should heavily err on the empirics debate here.
All right, ready for cross?
Yep.
Now, my first question.
Go ahead.
Have we had green tech in the past? Have we had green tech in the past?
I think, yeah, to an extent, but to an extent not necessary for able to solve. The more your argument is true, the more this response doesn't really make sense.
Okay, all the point I'm trying to make is that you can't win the prerequisite because if we have been able to do green tech innovation pre-2023, that means that your prerequisite doesn't make sense because we don't necessarily need AI to do innovation.
Two things. First of all, this is not an analysis made in the summer. Second of all, our argument. Second of all, our
can't preempt your lane.
You could have made this as a case response. But second of all, our argument is that in the past, it's not enough to solve climate change, which your need is true. Climate change is getting out of control now. The only way we can solve is having AI to do cross-disciplinary fields and streamline new innovation to solve that.
I don't care if this is a harms and benefits topic and we're winning uniqueness that climate change is out of control now. Why does it matter if it's try or die for you?
Yeah, once again, like I told you, this is in every single speech. It has not been scaled up enough. But once in the place it has been implemented, it's been good at reducing emissions by doing new innovations.
Okay, so it's not scaled up enough.
Our argument is that universities are scaling it up. The topic is not in the current moment generative AI and education benefits outweigh the harms. It is broadly generative the use of it. All right, can we have a question?
Sure.
All right. Let's talk about climate change emissions. Do you have a quantification or statistic on how many emissions you're contributing, to what extent that worsens the climate?
We've tried saying the development of just one model adds hundreds of thousands of carbons to the environment.
Hundreds of thousands of carbons, but the models.
Tons of carbon.
The model is developed.
Wait, but
And
you
that's
stop
ridiculous.
evidence up because of the continuous demand, and
Okay.
you yourself said we need
So-
more research. We're creating more and more.
Our evidence finds that it can be used millions and millions of times before ever needs to be retrained or updated. Given
That's
this
not-
history,
that's not-
so
Bro,
this is
that's
part
not
of evidence
Wait,
in
right,
case
right.
that has not
That's
been
not
responded
responsive. Even if it can be used millions of times, our evidence says because of demand, there's a demand for more and more models because people
Wait,
just
so
want to
Also,
use
this
more.
is
How
how much
much-
benefits
like
topics.
how
So in
much?
the past,
Wait,
even if we have already developed the models, the very development of these pre-existing models have already contributed to climate change, which is a harm that should be weighed.
like how much though? Like why can you
Like,
how can you
for our
specifically
impact
isolate
part,
that?
hundreds of
Yeah,
thousands
can
of
you?
kilotons.
So
of
you're
carbon.
like so you're willing to stake it that like the reason why we have a climate crisis is because of artificial intelligence education, not because of like anything else.
Generative
But
artificial
obviously, it's not the
intelligence
only reason, but we have made the argument that it's
Not
scalar,
the only
and you
reason.
also read Brink evidence, so
Wait,
the
but
way that
extinction
generative
is
AI has
a yes
any-
or no question. It is
Yeah.
not.
Wait,
it's
no,
not- you can't
it's
have a
non-linear
one-
extinction, and you read evidence that we are on the
Non-linear
brink.
extinction doesn't make sense. You still have to have a point where everyone dies
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, but like, wait,
Extinction is everyone dies. You
Oh,
can't-
wait. You've read Brink evidence saying we are on the brink of a crisis now. If we are winning that Gen AI contributes any amount to that brink, that should be
Wait,
enough to negate.
It's not any amount to the
But-
brink. Like the brink isn't just like one.
But you
more-
do agree that climate
Like,
change is
okay,
a
okay,
problem
let's
now.
say that your prerequisites
Yeah, it's a
are
problem
true,
now.
and we use AI to run models to solve climate change. By just running that one model that pushes us closer or over the brink, which is enough to trigger like our impact.
So one more model is enough to trigger the brink. And
Like
that's
for your argument now.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Let's see. It's gonna be Wang, the Meg, and then the F. And Wang is gonna start on our weighing and then third. Alright, everyone heard?
Yep.
Key framing issues the time frame range. They drop that climate change is accelerating now, and they themselves read Brink evidence for this. Here's why this matters. We are the neg in this debate. If we are proving that Gen AI has any contribution to the fact that climate change is accelerating right now, this means just when in the short term, they drop that millions are already dying. All I have to do is win a risk of the disaster. Now they're winning. They say it's a prerequisite. They can do research, which is more efficiency, but our prereq comes first. They have dropped that the scaling up the research that they talk about causes more emissions. So in the short term, if it's true that we are on the brink now, we cause more emissions in the short term, which means their prereq does not matter. They say that all causes, but this is incoherent. There's a lot of things like green technology right now. There's a lot of all going that could solve, but it's not solving climate change. It's getting worse if we control the uniqueness of climate debate. Educational AI harms the environment, extensive powers and process data, suppressing energy consumption, electricity usage, and water usage. But independently, popularization for education AI drives the overall demand for AI usage. They drop that current models are not good enough for educational purposes, which requires training of new models and leads to further mass consumption of electricity, which exponentially magnifies climate harms. We both agree climate change is the most important impact. The problem is they say in their second summary that their brink is 2027, but our argument is it's accelerating now. Their response is they say it's as much as a laptop, but this is about usage of the development. They dropped that one model has hundreds of thousands of tons of carbon emissions, and the problem is they have dropped that because of demand, we're producing so many more models now that accelerates climate change to the point where we cannot return. They say we're using it now, but no, this is our argument. We are using it now, and climate change is getting worse, and every single time we use it, it only gets worse to the point where they can solve their case. Key framing issues, they made the argument that self-correction solves in the long term, which is if we win climate change works in the short term, we should win this round. Extend critical thinking. They have dropped that it makes it so that people do not have higher order thinking. That is bad because without higher order thinking, you rely too much on AI, which means you cannot think of these new solutions, even if they win that in the long term it solves. They have dropped that in the short term because there's a lack of critical thinking, means that people cannot solve for climate change on the short term, and we are already on the brink, which means we're all going to be dead. Also, extend the PYM evidence. They dropped that investors do not like AI, regardless of whether or not it's self-correcting. Drop that investors would pull out because they think it's all fake research, means that there's no investments for all the green tech. They tell what they cannot solve. Finally, their CRU evidence from 2012 before generative AI was in the universities to prove that AI is not key. But climate change is getting worse now. We are on the brink. Generative AI makes it worse. You negate.
It's also going to start on the weighing. It'll be our weighing, their weighing, the affirmative, the negative. So some of the defense is kind of in the weighing, but it's going to make a lot of sense when I explain it, because like meshed it. That's everyone.
one response to an Alex's last speech is that at most they can only prevent climate change, only the affirmative action has a chance of solving all the impacts. Remember, they have gone all in on the brink analysis that any contribution to the brink means that they should vote negative. This isn't true. They have fully dropped Alex's analysis to new innovative technologies like carbon sequestration, able to bring us back from the brink, which has never been responsible. This is new innovative technology that's never been before, which is what AI is uniquely given this true. Our argument is the only risk of the climate change debate. Remember, they have fully dropped in their case. There are other industries like aviation, which do 70 more emissions than AI, which means they cannot solve for all the climate change arguments. They have no actual unique offense from action. So how do they garner offense off the resolution if the other things are causing climate change? Oh, this means the only chance of solving climate change is new innovations driven by AI, which for our case is the progress of research able to solve it by spurring new innovations. Extend the argument out. Generative AI cuts dots for previous fields, corrects human bias, analysis, scan literature, robustly experts research, universal, or uniquely keeps that allows further innovation and their critical mass of hubs or spiral out of innovation. This is good as everyone has submitted that the research only way to solve climate change is to do new innovations. Otherwise, we both agree climate change causes you to do things that keep feedback loops and resource wars extinction. Now, responses are not responsive. They say that things like critical thinking is down. They drop something. The researchers have intrinsic motivation to follow a code of honor, which is not blindly using critical thinking past silence. Rather, they're doing new innovation because that's what their whole career goal is. They say that investors are playing on now. If this is true, they drop out to this front line. Specifically, this is not happening. These SaaS codes, so clearly this is not happening. And also things like misinformation are being sold back in the long run. The last thing they say is that our CRU evidence is from too far ago. Remember, they have dropped that even if we're doing innovations in the past, it was not to the extent necessary to solve climate change. Our evidence, the best only question, I encourage you to read it after the round. It says that only with new AI systems can predict the innovation necessary because it corrects cross-disciplinary dots that humans could not see, which is dropped evidence. Given this is true, we want that the affirmative is the only chance to solve it. If there's a crisis in the status quo, they do nothing to solve it but perpetuate it, which means they have no risk of offense. Let's go to their case. Okay. The response, let me go first. The emissions are too negligible. The emissions on the amount of the laptop is not responsible. Even if you want to go hard on this model training link, they have not responded to the fact that it's expensive to train the models. Models are used millions of times over being trained, so they cannot uniquely prove that they are the unique break. They have no offense in this round. Good.
The Lee Evans says that. Excuse me?
Only the new stuff has the solvency. Only new application has the solvency.
That should be Brown, Lee, and the one below that one.
That's the stuff about AI being unique.
Okay.
If you want to stuff about climate change, the Sarpong evidence says that it's key for sustainable developments.
What's the true evidence that says these researchers have a good mix of motivation and like career goals and development?
Let me check.
That should be. Do you remember what that is?
No.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Was it an analytic?
No, it was evidence. I can find it now.
Was it written?
Yeah, it was right here. Let me find it. It's called Herman 24, and the tag is the new generation of early career researchers won't misuse AI. Yes. You see it?
Yeah.
just about models using it over and over.
Sorry.
The one that says
Models
millions
being
of
used over
times.
and over. Is that in case?
It's in the rebuttal.
In the rebuttal?
Yeah, let me pull up the evidence again. It is called. Just to be clear, you're referring to the evidence on their case, right? Yeah. Okay. It is called 5Fe25, FIFE25, and it's the second response to the climate argument.
Okay.
talk. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, I was just like, oh. It is, oh, good job to both creators, congrats on making it to quarters. It is a 3-0 for the app. Okay, I ended up voting app for a few reasons. One is the climate debate on the next side that tells me that Gen AI is faster than emissions, but I get this part from the app that is the only, like, in my opinion, is the only part of response saying that there's like a one-time emission cost and aviation is worse. Like, it's like there's other alt causes, and that the part says that Gen AI can reduce emissions by 30% is because for many cases provide 25 evidence. Then on the weighing debate, they say that because Gen AI models are already built, this means that there's no more emissions needed than other than generation. That's also the fact card, which is equal to the computer. Then they tell me that they pre-rec any benefits because they would end up solving in the future. If the neg has no solvency and the app has at least a chance for solvency, I vote here. Then on the time frame debate, it becomes like kind of washed to me because the neg doesn't really implicate to me as to why it matters in the terms versus benefits debate, especially if like in the long run, like I guess like you're able to like survive, like you're not telling me that like we all die. You know what I mean? At least that's what I said in my opinion. On the climate debate on the app, I ended up voting app here. I vote for a couple of reasons. One is on the ground and the evidence. Both of these say that long sides to research are corrected by AI, and they also tell me that new research is key, which is the thing that like Loki like turned it for me. Is like I just really think that this was a very full-hearted like back half of the round. I enjoyed it. Anyway, and it also doesn't matter that research has already been done. Then I vote up with the strength of the cards, then on the hermit evidence, which prevents misuse in higher education, which then therefore transfer the hallucinations like argument there. But for round everyone, like I think everyone is pretty sweet.
I'm good next. A lot of things you said I agree with. I think that for me, up until like first final focus, I thought the neg was winning, and the second final focus came in, and I thought you did a really good job with summarizing everything. Starting off on AF, the main reason why I ended up voting for AF was the weighing on like how there's a risk of solvency for the affirmative through like AI creating innovation, and that helps solve climate change. The main response against this was that there's going to be like lack of critical thinking because of AI, and that like investors are going to pull out. The main response I got against this was the carded evidence that new research is key, and that these researchers have an intrinsic motivation to have and to use critical thinking skills and like have new innovation. And on the second response about investors, I bought that right now. No investor call is happening, and that there's also alternative forms of investment. And yeah, I thought it extended very well. On the negative, on her argument about climate change, I thought that the negative was really winning up until like the point where, okay, starting off, the main response against this that I had was that there's alternative causes, and that like the cost of emissions or training these models are not that high. And up until like I was getting good analysis that, you know, like this generative AI is going to increase more demand for AI, which means that more a model needs to be trained, which also like the same thing as like the last round basically. But the reason why I voted differently this time was one, because I saw the evidence, like, you know, they said that it's only a one-time thing, you can use it repetitively, it's a one-time cost, and like app solves. So that's the main reason.
I'm gonna go quick. I think the neg and the app are both winning a lot of the impacts to their case. I think the negative is actually pretty well winning their own case. I think the model stuff is pretty, like, makes sense to me. I don't think that a lot of what the app is going for is interacting a lot here. I think the negligible stuff doesn't make sense in my eyes, but I do think that the all-positive stuff like kind of exists. I didn't really evaluate this. I thought it was mitigatory defense. And same for the app case. I think that a lot of what I'm getting from the neg is stuff that is simply defense that isn't terminal. It makes it a lot harder for me to consider there being some sort of like issue with voting for the affirmative here based off of just like that part of it. So then I start going to the impact and the weighing debate. I think that the Brink analysis that I hear from the app in summary that we then see back in final is a really smart extrapolation that I really am interested in. I needed the finality of the time frame analysis, of explicitly telling me that extinction would come prior to the contributions made, whereas what we're saying is implicitly doing so in a way that isn't justifying it for me in a way that is meaningful enough for me to vote negative on the time frame analysis of extinction coming prior to the implementation of green tech and sustainability efforts from AI benefits. Unfortunately, that's where I have to draw the line. I think the risk of solvency from the app does it for me unless I vote out.
Okay, great round.